Have you ever found yourself lying on your back in a field of a lovely summer's evening, gazing up into the dark star-speckled sky, when suddenly, oddly, your eyes begin to lose focus? The sheer immensity of what you are witnessing accordions outwards, swallowing your mental architecture. It becomes starkly, devastatingly clear that you are a scruffy, insignificant being, clinging to a tiny rock, floating in a limitless, inky, black abyss. Your body, your you, slips away into this endless void that has absorbed your every possible thought. In a dissociative panic, you slam your eyes shut, heart thumping, and think, what the fuck was that? That, my dear friends, is cosmic horror. First pioneered by the singular mind of author H.P. Lovecraft, it is in cosmic horror where we find impossibly ancient extraterrestrial beings, warped extra-dimensional spaces, and unknowable truths that shatter the feeble human minds that bear witness to them. Where the monsters of more conventional horror nibble at the edges of our sanity, the threats of cosmic horror swallow us whole, evoking a perverse sense of awe and insignificance in the face of their incomprehensible scale.
Personally, I like films where puppets or dolls or waxwork mannequins come to life and kill everyone. So, Mr. Narrator, what exactly is this cosmic horror? How does it make people so anxious? And why does it resonate in this crazy world of ours?
I'm so glad you asked, Marceline. If we're going to talk about cosmic horror, we need to start with its most famous practitioner, the aforementioned Howard Phillips Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft was a uniquely strange man, even amongst New Englanders. Born in 1890 in Providence, Rhode Island, young Howard was a solitary and anxious child who suffered from debilitating nightmares. After his parents' horrible deaths, he was taken in by a pair of spinster aunts who lived in a large, drafty house. I think we can all sense how this is going to go for him. A fan of the occult and the bizarre, Lovecraft began writing what was then known as weird fiction for pulp magazines of the day. His stories focused on gigantic, incomprehensible forces and entities beyond anything human civilization had ever encountered. Lovecraft created an entire mythos focused on mysterious ancient gods that predate mankind, and also sometimes ate mankind. And thus, the genre we now call cosmic horror was born and taken up by various writers, filmmakers, and artists, up into the present. Works in this genre frequently depict rational, secular-minded protagonists, confident in their orderly worldviews, having their jimmies absolutely obliterated by a cascade of cosmic cataclysms. The terror these characters feel isn't from violence or gore or stabby dolls, but from the confrontation with an infinite, indifferent cosmos where human beings are insignificant and their beliefs and moralities and desires are not just unimportant, but completely unnoticed.
Seems a bit dry, to be honest. Where is the blood spatter, the mangled bodies, the cracked porcelain smile decorating the face of a possessed ventriloquist's dummy? How could contemplation of the infinite scare anybody?
Well, Marceline, you see, humans are essentially smartish monkeys. Our perceptual and cognitive abilities evolved chiefly in service of navigating the physical realm at local scales. That is, recognizing patterns, objects, faces, spatial relations, etc. within a few miles of where we were born and died. Over generations, this sculpted a brain optimized for sensing immediate threats and opportunities. Neural architecture developed shortcuts, biases, and processing ceilings, attuned to survival tasks at hand-sized resolutions. This is why conventional horror works so well. Our ancestors evolved to detect specific threats, like weirdos, giant, toothy creatures, and apparently evil puppets. Watching a movie about a madman or monster lurking in the night triggers an innate threat response, the evolutionary origin of the jump scare. Later on, when humans were confronted with very large or very small or very old things, they had to invent linguistic and mathematical abstractions so that we could sort of understand them. In other words, the math that our hunter-gatherer brains invented to deal with the hunting and the gathering was aimed at more complex facets of the universe around us. That math built up layer upon layer, getting more and more abstract over time to give us a model of reality that sort of, kind of, almost works. This is why we can send a tin can to Mars, even though if we could comprehend how far away Mars actually is, our brains would be off whimpering quietly in a corner. Cosmic horror presents us with things so odd, so old, and so mind-bogglingly vast that our brains do a double-take. This collision, this elbow to the ribs into the infinite, stirs up a sense of existential dread, the very essence of cosmic horror.
I suppose that makes a kind of sense. But surely people have evolved past these sorts of silly abstract fears. I mean, an evil puppet can leap on you when you're asleep, or in the bath, or having a smoke on your back porch.
Marceline, perhaps you've not noticed, but modern folks are about as anxious as a long-tailed cat in a room full of deli slices. Our amazing information technology, which was supposed to connect the disparate voices of the world into one big harmony hoedown, has only made people more weird and isolated and skittish. Scientific discoveries are barely keeping up with the breakneck evolution of the most recent conspiracy theories, making each groundbreaking eureka moment tomorrow's debunked headline. Societal norms and traditions are retconned in endless cultural rewrites, creating a rootless, unmoored, and nervous civilization. You see, the unique susceptibility of modern individuals to cosmic horror isn't just a fluke. It's the direct result of the world we've built around ourselves. We are in a bull market for existential dread.
Ah, I see. So what you're suggesting is, we used to huddle around fires, frightened of wolves howling in the dark. Now, we're sprawled on couches, fretting over the unknowability of the dark void around us and the enigmatic labyrinth of the human psyche. We've traded fear of the tangible for a subscription to the abstract and unsettling.
Precisely. Cosmic horror taps into that deep-seated unease. The genre suggests that there are truths out there so exotic, so incomprehensible, so unimaginably fucking alien, that merely glimpsing them can shatter our minds. In a world where the boundaries of knowledge are constantly pushed, where the fabric of reality seems ever more complex and bizarre, these stories resonate on a very fundamental level. It's the irony of progress, Marceline. We've expanded our horizons more than at any time before, but in doing so, we've exposed ourselves to a universe more mysterious and terrifying than we could have imagined. And in the face of such a vast, unknowable cosmos, what are we but specks of dust, clinging to another, slightly bigger speck of dust?
This is the sort of thing makes me want to stab a bitch.
Do it.